Hello there, and welcome to the Sleep Whisperer. We are stepping into the subtle, often overlooked miracles that pulse quietly all around us. We'll uncover the hidden rhythms and silent intelligences of our world, an insect that builds crystalline cities, a lake that petrifies its victims, a creature that sees 1,000 sunsets in a single day. We'll travel gently fact by fact, through mountains that breathe fire into the sky, deserts where stones dance, and the quiet, impossible ways life endures in the most forgotten corners of Earth. Some of what you hear tonight may surprise you. Some may stay with you, like the memory of a cool breeze on a warm evening. And just before we begin, if these calm, curious explorations help you unwind or give you a quiet way to end your day, consider liking and subscribing, or simply sharing your thoughts down in the comments. It helps others find their way here, too, one sleepy soul at a time. Now, if you're ready, let's begin. There is a continent that moves faster than your fingernails grow. The ground beneath our feet feels permanent, solid, and unchanging. But the Earth's crust is broken into massive tectonic plates that are in constant, slow motion. The Australian continent is the speed champion of this geological dance, drifting northward at a rate of about 6 centimeters each year. This is faster than the average fingernail grows. Over millions of years, this slow, relentless drift has reshaped oceans, built mountains, and changed the very face of our planet. It's a humbling thought. The land we build our lives upon is merely a passenger on a much grander journey, a slow Jan motion voyage across the molten heart of the Earth. Some spiders weave a new web every single night. For many WebGen building spiders, the intricate silk structure is a daily masterpiece, a feat of engineering and patience. Each evening, as the sun dips below the horizon, they consume their old web, recycling the precious proteins to spin a new one. Perfectly tuned to the conditions of the coming night, the silk itself is pound for pound, stronger than steel and more elastic than rubber. To watch a spider spin is to witness one of nature's most diligent artists, creating a work of stunning geometry that will last only until dawn, a temporary, glistening net cast into the darkness. There are crystals that can grow to the size of a bus. Deep beneath the Chihuahuan Desert in Mexico lies the Cave of Crystals, discovered in Laotian. This otherworldly chamber contains colossal selenite gypsum crystals, some reaching over Charmi-Eaters in length and weighing wushu tons. They formed over 500,000 years in mineral gen-rich water that was consistently kept at a stable, high temperature by magma below. The cave is so hot and humid that unprotected visitors can survive only for a few minutes. These monumental crystals are a testament to the slow, patient artistry of geology, a hidden gallery of gleaming giants that grew in perfect darkness. A single honeybee will make only 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey in its entire life. The honey we drizzle into our tea is the collective lifetime effort of countless bees. A single forager bee, working tirelessly from dawn until dusk, will visit thousands of flowers, traveling a distance equivalent of twice around the world just to gather enough nectar to produce a minuscule fraction of that golden sweetness. The honey is the hive's collective insurance policy, its stored sunlight, its guarantee of survival through the barren winter. Each drop is a testament to cooperation and unimaginable individual sacrifice. The heart of a blue whale is so large that a human could swim through its arteries. The blue whale, the largest animal to have ever lived on Earth, possesses a heart that weighs as much as a small car. Its main aorta, the major artery leading from the heart, is so wide in diameter that a small child could easily crawl through it. This immense pump is necessary to push blood throughout its colossal body, a body that can reach century-meters in length. The slow, powerful beat of this heart, echoing through the deep ocean, is the drumbeat of a living leviathan, a pulse that moves a world of flesh and blood. Some clouds weigh more than 1 million elephants. A fluffy, innocent Jan-looking cumulus cloud may appear light as air, but it is composed of tiny water droplets. A typical cumulus cloud can hold several 100,000 liters of water, giving it a mass equivalent to over 1 million elephants. The reason it floats is that this immense weight is spread across a vast volume of air, and the droplets are so small that they are easily suspended by upward air currents. The sky above us is not empty. It is an ocean of drifting liquid mountains. There are animals that are practically immortal. The Turritopsis dorni, a tiny species of jellyfish, no larger than a pinky nail, has achieved what seems like biological immortality. When it faces starvation, physical damage, or simply old age, it can reverse its life cycle, transforming its cells back into a younger state, a polyp. It then begins its life cycle anew. This process, known as transdifferentiation, can, in theory, repeat indefinitely, making this delicate creature potentially eternal. It's a profound reminder that in nature, the rules of life and death are not always as fixed as they seem. The smell of rain has a name. That distinctive, earthy scent that rises after a dry spell, especially following a summer rain, is called petrichor. It is caused by a combination of oils secreted by plants during dry periods and a chemical called geosmin, which is produced by soil gem-dwelling bacteria called actinomycetes. When rain hits the dry ground, it aerosolizes these compounds, carrying them into the air for us to inhale. This scent is a complex perfume of life, a signal of relief for the parched earth, and a deeply ingrained memory for countless creatures. A day on Venus is longer than a year on Venus. Venus rotates on its axis incredibly slowly. It takes our Isis and Earth days to complete a single rotation, a Venusian day. However, it only takes our Piashawu Earth days to complete one orbit around the Sun, a Venusian year. This means that on Venus, a day officially lasts longer than a year. Furthermore, Venus rotates in the opposite direction to most planets, so the Sun would rise in the west and set in the east. It's a world where time itself is measured by a different, more patient clock. There is a lake that turns animals to stone. Lake Natron in Tanzania is one of the most forbidding bodies of water on Earth. Its waters are extremely alkaline, with a pH as high as Shuyewuje, and are heated to temperatures up to Liushishishadu. The lake is saturated with sodium carbonate and other minerals that leach from the surrounding volcanic bedrock. These waters are so caustic that they can calcify the bodies of animals that die in it, preserving them in a ghastly, stony state. The lake is not devoid of life, however. It is the primary breeding ground for millions of lesser flamingos, which have evolved tough skin and scales on their legs to withstand the corrosive water. The deepest part of the ocean is deeper than Mount Everest is tall. The Mariana Trench in the Pacific Ocean is home to the Challenger Deep, the deepest known point in the Earth's seabed. It plunges to a depth of nearly 10 meters. Mount Everest, by comparison, stands at 10 meters tall. If you could place Everest at the bottom of the Challenger Deep, its peak would still be over 2 kilometers underwater. The pressure at this depth is over 1,000 times greater than at sea level, a crushing force that has shaped life into strange, resilient forms. A species of ant practices slavery. The Amazonian ant Polyergus breviceps is known as the slave gen-making ant. These ants are incapable of feeding themselves or caring for their own young. Instead, they raid the nests of other ant species, primarily Formica ants, killing the adults and stealing the pupae. These pupae are then raised in the Polyergus nest, imprinting on their captors and performing all the essential duties of the colony, foraging, feeding, and nursing, for the rest of their lives. It's a dark, complex social parasitism that reveals a ruthless side of nature's strategies for survival. There is a waterfall that flows underwater. Between the islands of Vigar and Streymoy in the Faroe Islands, a spectacular phenomenon occurs beneath the sea. The waterfall of Surgigsvatn, or Lake over the Ocean, appears to be a lake that drains directly into the Atlantic Ocean over a cliff. In reality, it is an optical illusion. The lake is situated high above the ocean, but the angle from which it is often photographed makes it seem as if it is perched precariously on the edge, spilling its waters into the sea below. It's a breathtaking trick of perspective, a reminder that our eyes do not always tell the whole truth. Some trees are connected by a vast, underground network, often called the Wood Wide Web. A forest is not a collection of individual trees, but an interconnected community. This network is facilitated by mycorrhizal fungi, which form symbiotic relationships with tree roots. Through this fungal internet, trees can share nutrients, water, and even chemical warning signals. A stressed tree can send distress calls to its neighbors, who may then preemptively produce defensive chemicals. A mother tree might even shunt carbon to her own seedlings, helping them survive in the shaded understory. The forest is a conversation, a silent, cooperative society happening just beneath our feet. The light we see from the stars is ancient. When we look up at the night sky, we are looking back in time. The light from the stars has traveled for years, decades, centuries, or even millennia to reach our eyes. The light from the nearest star beyond our sun, Proxima Centauri, is over 4 years old. The light from the bright star Vega is about Ashuwu years old. And when we gaze at the Andromeda Galaxy, the faint smudge of light we see left its source Ardenwu Yungli Elion years ago. The night sky is not a snapshot, but a mosaic of different moments in cosmic history. There is a desert where the stones move on their own. In Death Valley, California, lies the racetrack Playa, a dry lake bed famous for its sailing stones. Large rocks, some weighing hundreds of pounds, slide across the flat, cracked mud, leaving long, meandering trails behind them. For decades, this was a profound mystery. The solution was discovered relatively recently. During rare winter conditions, a thin sheet of ice forms on the playa. On sunny days, this ice breaks into large panels. As wind blows across the playa, it pushes these ice sheets, which slowly shove the rocks along the slick mud. The stones do not sail, but are sailed by the gentle, invisible hand of the wind. A single bolt of lightning contains enough energy to power a small home for weeks. The raw power of a lightning strike is staggering. A single bolt can heat the air around it to Sensha Jeshoshadu, hotter than the surface of the sun. This instantaneous release can carry over 1 billion volts of electricity. If this energy could be captured and stored, it could theoretically power an average American home for nearly 2 weeks. Of course, its fleeting, unpredictable nature makes it impossible to harness with current technology. It is nature's most dramatic and untamable display of raw power. Some butterflies drink the tears of turtles. In the Amazon rainforest, a peculiar and gentle interaction occurs. Butterflies, particularly males, are often seen congregating around the eyes of turtles and caimans. They are seeking something scarce in their diet, sodium. The tears of these reptiles are a rich source of salt and other minerals, which the butterflies cannot get from nectar. The turtles, for their part, typically remain placid, tolerating the delicate proboscises sipping at their eyes. It's a strange, peaceful symbiosis, a transaction of nutrients in a world where every resource is precious. The Earth has a second moon. Well, sort of. Earth occasionally captures small asteroids into temporary orbits, making them mini Jan moons. One, named Ardeen CD-San, was a Cardian-sized asteroid that orbited Earth for about 2 years before being flung back into solar orbit in Ardeen. Another, Kamojo Alawa, is a quasi-Jan satellite, meaning it orbits the Sun in a stable configuration with Earth, appearing to orbit our planet from our perspective. These temporary companions are a reminder that our cosmic neighborhood is dynamic, with small visitors constantly coming and going. There is a type of ice that burns. On the ocean floor and in permafrost, a strange substance called methane hydrate exists. It is a crystalline solid where methane gas molecules are trapped inside a cage of water molecules. It looks like dirty ice, but when it is brought to the surface and exposed to a flame, it will burn, the methane gas being released and ignited while the water melts. These fire ice deposits represent a vast potential energy source, but also a significant climate threat, as methane is a potent greenhouse gas if released into the atmosphere. A cat's purr may have healing properties. The low gen frequency vibration of a cat's purr, typically between Arshawu and Yawulin hertz, has been studied for its potential therapeutic effects. These frequencies have been shown to promote bone density and facilitate the healing of fractures, tendons, and muscles. It is thought that purring may be an evolutionary mechanism that helps cats conserve energy and heal during long periods of rest. So, when a cat curls up on your lap and purrs, it may not just be a sign of contentment. It could be a subtle, vibrational therapy session for both of you. There are forests of giant fungi that once covered the earth. Long before trees evolved to dominate the landscape, the earth was home to forests of giant fungi. During the Devonian period, around Subai Yungli lion years ago, organisms called prototaxites grew over balmy eaters tall, towering over the primitive plants of the time. For decades, scientists debated whether these fossils were trees, algae, or fungi. The consensus now is that they were gigantic fungi, the likes of which the world has never seen again. They were the skyscrapers of their age, silent and strange, in a world still learning to be green. The sound of a snapping shrimp is one of the loudest noises in the ocean. The tiny snapping shrimp, only a few centimeters long, creates a sound that can stun small fish. It has one oversized claw that it can snap shut with such immense speed that it creates a cavitation bubble. When this bubble collapses, it produces a sharp click, a flash of light, and a momentary temperature hotter than the sun's surface. The collective sound of a colony of these shrimp creates a pervasive crackling, like frying bacon, that can dominate the soundscape of coral reefs and even interfere with sonar. Some birds can sleep while flying. Great frigate birds, which can stay aloft for weeks over the ocean, have been found to sleep while flying. Using brain activity monitors, scientists discovered that these birds can sleep with one hemisphere of their brain at a time, or even both hemispheres simultaneously for short periods, all while gracefully soaring on air currents. They sleep for only minutes at a time, usually while circling upward in a thermal, but this allows them to undertake epic transoceanic journeys without ever landing. Theirs is a life lived almost entirely in the sky, a world of wind and dreams. There is a planet made of diamond, located about Susha light Jan years from Earth. The planet Wushawu Cancri E is a super-Jan Earth that orbits its star so closely that a year lasts only Shabasyosha hours. Scientists believe that the intense pressure and temperature conditions, combined with a carbon-Jan-rich composition, have caused a significant portion of the planet's interior to crystallize into diamond. It is a world of unimaginable wealth, a glittering sphere of carbon, forever locked in a blistering embrace with its sun. The human body contains stardust, every atom of oxygen in our lungs, every atom of carbon in our muscles, every atom of iron in our blood was forged in the heart of a long Jan dead star. The Big Bang produced only the lightest elements, hydrogen, helium, and a trace of lithium. All heavier elements, the calcium in our bones, the phosphorus in our DNA, the gold in our jewelry, were created in the nuclear furnaces of stars and scattered across the galaxy when those stars exploded as supernovae. We are not just living in the universe is living in us. We are a way for the cosmos to know itself. A species of jellyfish is immortal. We mentioned the Turritopsis dawni earlier, but its story bears repeating from a different angle. Its ability to revert to a juvenile state after reaching sexual maturity means it can, in theory, cycle between life stages, indefinitely escaping death from old age. This biological immortality makes it a unique subject for scientific research into aging and cellular regeneration. It is a tiny translucent key to one of biology's greatest mysteries. The wind shapes trees into living sculptures. On isolated coastlines and high mountain ridges, trees grow in strange, twisted, and flattened forms. This is known as krummholz, a German word for crooked wood. The constant, unidirectional force of the wind stunts growth on the windward side, killing buds and branches, while allowing some growth on the leeward side. The result is a tree that appears to be streaming in the direction of the wind, a living record of every storm it has endured. These trees are not broken. They are adapted, shaped by an invisible sculptor into forms of resilient beauty. There are bacteria that can survive in nuclear reactors. Deinococcus radiogurans is one of the most radiation-resistant organisms known to science. It can withstand doses of radiation thousands of times greater than what would be lethal to a human. It is known as an polyextremophile because it can also survive extreme cold, dehydration, vacuum, and acid. It repairs its own shattered DNA with astonishing efficiency. This bacterium's resilience has led scientists to study it for insights into cancer treatment, biotechnology, and even the potential for life on other planets. The footprints on the moon will last for millions of years. The moon has no atmosphere, no wind, and no water to cause erosion. The footprints left by the Apollo astronauts in the fine lunar dust are not subject to the weathering processes that would erase them on Earth. Barring a direct hit by a meteorite, those silent steps, that human signature pressed into another world, could remain pristine for tens of millions of years. They are a fossil of a moment of incredible courage, a permanent monument to a fleeting visit. Some plants can hear running water. The roots of plants are remarkably sensitive. Research has shown that pea seedlings can detect the sound of water moving through pipes or soil and will grow toward the source of the sound. It seems they can distinguish between the vibrations of genuine water and recorded sounds. This suggests that plants use acoustic cues to find this most vital of resources in the complex dark world beneath the ground. To the whispers of the earth, there is a sea of fresh water under the ocean. Off the coast of Florida and in other parts of the world, scientists have discovered vast aquifers of fresh or brackish water trapped beneath the seafloor. These hidden reservoirs, sealed by layers of sediment and clay, likely formed during the last ice ages when sea levels were much lower. And these areas were dry land. They represent a potentially massive, though challenging to access, source of fresh water. It is a secret sea within the sea, a buried treasure from a different climatic age. A hummingbird's heart beats each 10 times per minute. The metabolism of a hummingbird is a study in extremes. To power its frantic hovering flight, its wings beating up to barsha times per second, its heart must work at a phenomenal rate. At rest, a hummingbird's heart rate can be around awuleen beats per minute. During flight, it can soar to over 10 beats per minute. At night, to conserve energy, they enter a state of torpor, a deep hibernation gen-like sleep where their heart rate can drop to just whoosha beats per minute. Theirs is a life lived at the very edge of biological possibility. The Earth is not a perfect sphere. Our planet is an oblate spheroid, meaning it is slightly flattened at the poles and bulging at the equator. This shape is due to its rotation, which causes centrifugal force to push mass outward. The diameter of the Earth at the equator is about 60 kilometers larger than the diameter from pole to pole. From space, this imperfection is invisible, but it is a fundamental characteristic of our spinning world, a gentle bulge created by its own motion. There are animals that photosynthesize. The pea aphid is a remarkable insect. It is one of the only animals known to produce its own carotenoids, pigments that are essential for photosynthesis in plants. While they don't fully photosynthesize like a plant, it is believed these pigments may help them with energy production, possibly by converting sunlight into cellular energy. The sea slug Elysia chlorotica goes even further. It consumes algae and then incorporates the algae's chloroplasts into its own cells, allowing it to live for months off the energy produced by photosynthesis. It is, in effect, a solar Jan-powered slug. The dust in your house is mostly made of dead skin. It's a fact that is both mundane and slightly macabre. A significant portion of household dust is composed of shed human skin cells. We constantly shed our outer layer of skin, and these tiny flakes become part of the dust ecosystem, along with fibers, pollen, and soil tracked in from outside. It is a quiet, constant reminder of our own physical presence, the subtle residue of our lives settling on the surfaces around us. A glacier can hold the memory of ancient atmospheres. The ice in glaciers and ice sheets is not just frozen water. As snow falls year after year, it traps tiny bubbles of air from the atmosphere. By drilling deep ice cores in Antarctica and Greenland, scientists can analyze these air bubbles, reading a direct record of the Earth's atmosphere from hundreds of thousands of years ago. They can measure past levels of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane, providing crucial evidence of the planet's climatic history. A glacier is a frozen library, its pages made of ice, its words written in air. There is a type of frog that gives birth through its back. The Suriname toad has one of the most unusual reproductive strategies in the animal kingdom. After the female releases eggs, the male fertilizes them and then presses them onto the skin of her back. The skin swells and grows around the eggs, embedding them in small pockets. The tadpoles develop inside these pockets, eventually emerging as fully formed miniature toads by pushing their way out of the mother's skin. It is a bizarre and seemingly alien form of gestation. The Sun makes up 99.8% of the mass of the solar system. We often think of the solar system as the Sun and its planets, but in terms of sheer mass, the Sun is the overwhelming dominant force. All the planets, moons, asteroids, and comets combined account for only 0.1% of the total mass. Jupiter, the largest planet, comprises about 2/3 of that tiny remainder. The solar system is, for all intents and purposes, the Sun with a few scattered bits of debris orbiting around it. Some deserts are cold. The definition of a desert is based on precipitation, not temperature. A desert is any region that receives very little rainfall. The largest desert in the world is Antarctica. It is a polar desert, a vast frozen landscape where the air is so dry that snowfall is minimal. The McMurdo Dry Valleys in Antarctica are one of the driest places on Earth, with some areas having seen no rain for nearly 2 million years. Deserts are not always hot, they can be lands of ice and silence. There is a volcano that spews blue lava. On the island of Java, Indonesia, the Kawah Ijen volcano is famous for its electric jam blue flames. This phenomenon is not actually lava, but the combustion of sulfuric gases. These gases, seeping from cracks in the volcano at high pressure and temperature, ignite upon contact with the air, burning with an eerie, vibrant blue glow. At night, the effect is surreal, as rivulets of what appears to be blue lava flow down the mountainside. A vision from another world, a single cloud can hold billions of water droplets. The composition of a cloud is a marvel of numbers. A typical cumulus cloud, 1 kilometer on a side, can contain about 1 billion cubic meters of air. Suspended in that air are billions upon billions of individual water droplets, each one microscopic in size. Each droplet forms around a tiny particle of dust, salt, or smoke, a nucleus around which water vapor can condense. A cloud is not a single entity, but a galaxy of tiny worlds, a floating metropolis of moisture. The language of dolphins is incredibly complex. Dolphins communicate using a sophisticated system of clicks, whistles, and body movements. Research has shown that they have signature whistles that act as names, allowing them to call out to specific individuals. They can convey information about their emotional state, coordinate hunting strategies, and likely share other complex information we are only beginning to understand. Their brains are large and highly developed, suggesting a rich inner world and a social intelligence that may rival that of the great apes. There are rocks that are older than the Earth itself, meteorites. Fragments of asteroids that fall to Earth often contain material that predates the formation of our planet. The most primitive type, carbonaceous chondrites, are composed of the original dust and grit from which the solar system formed, dating back over 6.5 billion years. Holding a meteorite is to hold a piece of the solar system's birth, a relic from a time before the Earth even existed. A species of octopus has 3 hearts and blue blood. The common octopus is a physiological marvel. It has 3 hearts, 2 to pump blood through the gills, and 1 to pump it to the rest of the body. Its blood is blue because it uses a copper-gen-based protein called hemocyanin to carry oxygen, rather than the iron-jan-based hemoglobin that makes our blood red. Hemocyanin is less efficient than hemoglobin, which is part of the reason octopuses prefer cold, oxygen-jan-rich water. They are aliens of the deep, built on a completely different biological plan. The Earth's rotation is gradually slowing down. The gravitational pull of the Moon is causing the Earth's rotation to slow very slightly over time. This tidal friction results in the length of a day increasing by about 1.7 seconds per century. This means that in the age of the dinosaurs, a day was only about 8 hours long. Hundreds of millions of years from now, a day will be significantly longer. The cosmic clock is ticking, but at an almost imperceptibly slow pace. There are fish that can climb waterfalls. In the steep streams of Hawaii, a small goby fish performs an astonishing feat. To reach its spawning grounds in the headwaters, the Nopili rock gen-climbing goby uses a suction cup formed from fused pelvic fins to inch its way up vertical wet rock faces and waterfalls, sometimes over meters tall. It is a grueling, perilous journey, undertaken for the future of the next generation. A testament to the powerful drive to reproduce. Some mushrooms can break down plastic. Pestiloteopsis microspora is a species of fungus discovered in the Amazon rainforest that has a remarkable ability. It can digest and break down polyurethane, a common plastic, even in an environment without oxygen. This discovery holds immense promise for dealing with the global crisis of plastic pollution, using nature's own tools to clean up our waste. It is a humble fungus that may hold a key to solving one of humanity's most persistent problems. The northern lights make a sound. For centuries, people who witnessed the aurora borealis reported hearing a faint hissing, crackling, or clapping sound. For a long time, scientists were skeptical, as the lights occur far too high in the atmosphere for sound to reach the ground. However, recent research has confirmed that the aurora does indeed produce sounds. They are created by electrical discharges in the inversion layer, much closer to the ground, triggered by the same solar activity that causes the lights. The aurora is not just a silent light show. It is a symphony for the eyes and ears. A grain of sand from a beach is a tiny piece of geological history. That tiny, insignificant grain of sand has a story to tell. It could be a fragment of quartz or feldspar, weathered from a distant mountain range, carried by rivers for thousands of years, tumbled and polished in the ocean for centuries before being laid to rest on a beach. It could be a piece of shell from a long-jan dead sea creature, or a bit of volcanic glass. Each grain is a world in miniature, a testament to the immense cycles of rock and time. There is a lake that explodes. Lake Nyos in Cameroon is a crater lake that sits atop a volcanic vent. Carbon dioxide seeping from the magma below dissolves in the deep water of the lake. In Ijo-Baliu, a landslide or volcanic event triggered a sudden outgassing. The lake essentially turned over, releasing a massive, invisible cloud of fio. This cloud, heavier than air, flowed down the surrounding valleys, suffocating over Ichen Tsibai people and thousands of animals in nearby villages. It is a tragic reminder that the Earth can hold deadly secrets in its most beautiful places. The human brain can generate enough electricity to power a small light bulb. The brain operates through the transmission of electrical signals between neurons. While the voltage of a single neuron is tiny, the collective activity of the brain's nearly 1 billion neurons can generate about 8 watts of electrical power, enough to power a dim light bulb. This is the energy that powers our thoughts, dreams, and consciousness, a soft biological luminescence inside our skulls. Some trees are fire-gen resistant. In fire-gen-prone ecosystems, like the American West, the giant sequoia has evolved a remarkable defense. Its bark is thick, fibrous, and lacks the flammable resins found in other conifers. It can be up to 2 feet thick, acting as a superb insulator that protects the living tissue of the tree from all but the most intense fires. In fact, sequoias rely on fire to clear the forest floor of competing vegetation and to open their cones to release seeds. They have learned to live with the flame, to use it, to be shaped by it. The ocean has underwater lakes and rivers. On the seafloor, particularly in the Gulf of Mexico, there are pools of supergiant salty water, known as brine pools. These pools are so dense that they form a separate layer on the bottom, complete with shorelines and waves. They are often toxic, devoid of oxygen, and can kill any fish or creature that swims into them. Yet, they support unique ecosystems of extremophile bacteria and mussels that have adapted to the harsh conditions. They are alien landscapes within our own world. A butterfly's wing is covered in microscopic scales. The dazzling colors of a butterfly are not produced by pigments alone. The wings are covered in thousands of tiny overlapping scales like shingles on a roof. These scales are intricately structured to reflect and refract light, creating iridescent blues, greens, and purples through structural coloration. If you touch a butterfly's wing, the powdery residue is actually these tiny scales coming off. Each scale is a masterpiece of nanogen engineering, a piece of a living mosaic. There is a place where the sea glows at night. In several locations around the world, such as Mosquito Bay in Puerto Rico or the Maldives, the ocean puts on a magical display after dark. The water glows with an ethereal blue light when disturbed. This bioluminescence is caused by microscopic organisms called dinoflagellates. When they are agitated by a wave, a paddle, or a swimming fish, they emit a brief flash of light through a chemical reaction. To swim in such waters is to feel like you are moving through liquid starlight. The song of a humpback whale can travel for thousands of miles. Male humpback whales are famous for their complex, haunting songs. These songs are not random noises. They are structured sequences of moans, cries, and chirps that can last for half an hour and be repeated for hours on end. Low-gen frequency sounds travel exceptionally well in water, and it is believed that these songs can propagate across entire ocean basins, allowing whales to communicate over immense distances in the dark, deep sea. Some plants can survive for centuries without water. Resurrection plants, such as the Rose of Jericho, have an extraordinary ability to withstand extreme dehydration. During dry periods, they curl up into a tight brown ball and appear completely dead. They can remain in this dormant state for years. But when rain finally returns, they unfurl, turn green, and resume photosynthesis within hours. They are nature's ultimate survivors, masters of suspended animation. The air in a forest is filled with invisible chemical messages. A walk in the woods feels calming for a reason beyond the quiet and the beauty. Trees release airborne compounds called phytoncides. These are natural oils that protect the tree from insects and decay. When we inhale them, studies have shown they can reduce stress hormones, lower blood pressure, and boost our immune system. The Japanese practice of Shinrin Genyoku, or forest bathing, is based on this principle. The forest is not just a place, it is a healing atmosphere. There is a cave in Vietnam large enough to hold a city block, Hang Son Studio. Ong in Vietnam is the world's largest known cave passage. It is over 2 kilometers long, Lao Bai Mi meters high, and Ibai Wushimi meters wide in places. It is so vast that it has its own localized weather system, with clouds forming inside the cavern. It contains a fast, flowing underground river, ancient fossils, and jungles where sunlight streams in from massive dolines, collapsed skylights. It is a lost world, a subterranean kingdom of breathtaking scale. A dragonfly's head is almost all eyes. The dragonfly has one of the most sophisticated visual systems in the insect world. Its head is dominated by 2 large compound eyes, each containing up to 10 individual facets, or ommatidia. This gives them nearly 10 degree vision and the ability to detect rapid movement and a spectrum of colors, including ultraviolet light. They are aerial predators of immense skill, and their success is built upon their ability to see the world in a way we can scarcely imagine. The Earth has a pulse. Every Archiliomeus econs, seismographs around the world pick up a tiny rhythmic pulse. This microseism was first detected in the Ichenjobylushmiao, and its source remained a mystery for decades. The leading theory now is that it is caused by ocean waves. As waves crash against the continental shelf, particularly off the coast of West Africa, the energy is converted into a seismic wave that travels through the planet. The Earth is constantly humming a quiet rhythmic song, a heartbeat driven by the sea. Some birds can see the Earth's magnetic field. The migration of birds is one of nature's great navigational feats. They use the sun, the stars, and landmarks. But they also possess a sense called magnetoreception. It is believed that a protein in their eyes called cryptochrome allows them to visually perceive the planet's magnetic field as a pattern of light or color, overlaying their vision. They see a compass painted on the world itself, an invisible guide for their epic journeys. There is a type of sand that squeaks when you walk on it. On certain beaches around the world, the sand produces a squeaking or barking sound when you walk on it. This is known as singing sand or whistling sand. The phenomenon occurs when sand grains are of a very uniform size and shape and are well-rounded and dry. The friction between the grains produces a vibration that is amplified by the countless contacts between them, creating a chorus of tiny squeaks with every step. The silence of space is not absolute. While space is a vacuum and cannot carry sound waves as we know them, it is not completely silent. Various phenomena produce emissions that can be converted into sound. For example, the plasma waves around planets, the radio emissions from stars, and the vibrations of magnetic field lines can all be translated into audible frequencies. The result is an eerie symphony of whistles, chirps, and rumbles, the sounds of the cosmos, waiting to be heard by the right instruments. A single teaspoon of neutron star would weigh billions of tons. Neutron stars are the collapsed cores of massive stars that have gone supernova. They are incredibly dense. A single sugar gen-sized amount of neutron star material would have a mass of about 1 billion tons, roughly the weight of a mountain. This is matter compressed to an almost unimaginable degree, where atoms have been crushed, and protons and electrons have been forced together to form neutrons. It is the ultimate state of condensed matter in the universe. There are animals that can regrow their heads. Some species of sea slugs, specifically sacoglossans, can perform one of the most extreme acts of regeneration in the animal kingdom. If decapitated, the head of the sea slug can, within a matter of hours, begin to move and feed on algae. Within about 3 weeks, it will have regenerated an entirely new body, complete with a heart and other vital organs. The discarded body, meanwhile, eventually decomposes. It is a bizarre and fascinating survival strategy. The world's oldest known living organism is a patch of seagrass. In the Mediterranean Sea, a vast meadow of Posidonia oceanica, a species of seagrass, has been found to be a single clonal organism. Genetic testing has shown that this underwater meadow, stretching for 2 kilometers off the coast of Spain, is estimated to be between Barchan and Artenad and Artenyun. It has been slowly spreading by its rhizomes, a subterranean stem system. Since the last ice age, it is a quiet, ancient giant of the sea. Some clouds look like UFOs. Lenticular clouds are stationary, lens-shaped clouds that form at high altitudes, often aligned perpendicular to the wind direction. They are formed when moist air is forced to flow over a mountain or a range of mountains, creating standing waves in the atmosphere. As the air rises and cools in these waves, The water vapor condenses, forming the distinctive saucer, jan-like shape. They are so perfectly formed that they are often mistaken for unidentified flying objects. The color pink may not exist in the rainbow. The colors of the rainbow are those with a specific, pure wavelength of light. Pink, or magenta, is what our brain creates when it sees a mix of red and blue light wavelengths, but not the green wavelength in between. It is an extra jan spectral color, a construct of our perception. Pink is a poem written by our brain, a color that exists not in the light itself, but in the mind that sees it. There is a planet where it rains glass. HD Yolba Jyotsi b is an exoplanet located Liushisen light years away. It is a gas giant that orbits very close to its star. The atmosphere is so hot over Ichen Shashador that it contains silicate particles. The fierce winds, which can reach speeds of Mesa Shabatsen Tsibaikoni, whip these particles into a frenzy, creating violent storms where it likely rains molten glass, sideways. It is a hellish, beautiful, and utterly alien world. The journey of a water molecule can last for millennia. A single water molecule on Earth is on an epic journey. It may spend thousands of years locked in an Antarctic ice sheet, then melt into the ocean, evaporate into the atmosphere, travel across a continent, fall as rain, be drunk by a dinosaur, flow through a river, be part of a cloud, only to begin the cycle again. The water we drink is ancient and has been part of countless lives and landscapes before our own. And so, our quiet exploration of the world's hidden wonders draws to a gentle close. We've wandered from the cosmic to the microscopic, from the depths of the ocean to the heart of the atom, discovering that reality is far stranger and more wonderful than we often allow ourselves to believe. Some of these stories were about scale, the unimaginably large and the infinitesimally small. Others were about time, the deep past locked in ice and rock, and the potential for eternity in a tiny jellyfish, and beautiful ways life finds a way to persist, to thrive, to be. As you rest now, you might picture the silent, slow dance of the continents, the ghostly blue flame of a volcano, or the intricate web being woven in the darkness outside your window. You might imagine the ancient song of a whale traveling through the deep, or the quiet pulse of the earth itself, a steady beat felt only by the most sensitive instruments. The world is full of magic. It is not the magic of wands and spells, but the deeper magic of physics, biology, and geology. It is the magic of what is real. Thank you for letting me share these moments with you tonight. If you happen to still be awake, you can go ahead and watch the next video now. But if your eyes are heavy and your thoughts are drifting, you can let them go. The wonders will still be here in the morning, waiting patiently for you to notice them. Good night.